Getting into the PlayStation 5 event, the biggest takeaways for me. I don't know if y'all noticed or um saw, but last week, last week, definitely didn't happen last week. Yesterday, the biggest gaming event of 2020 happened. And I'm saying that because of what they announced. Now, when you start a console conference, you usually save your big hitters for last. But Sony was filled with big hitters. Like they had all type of content in the tuck for this conference. So they just started off and hit you with a Spider-Man game, new Spider-Man game right off the bat. Marvel just plastered on the front. First they hit you with GTA 5 and talked about how you could get 1 million every month with playing GTA 5 online, and when you get the PlayStation 5, you'll get GTA 5 for free. Even though GTA 5 came out for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, I believe. Now remastered for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and now will be available for free on the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, for which I'm just like, bro, make another GTA. Like, why are we dragging it out so long? But anyways, that's not the point. They came with a big haymaker, Spider-Man. Spider-Man's my favorite superhero of all time. Throughout this podcast, you'll get a little bit of what I think is the best and what I like. How, like, when you understand how people look at certain characters and what's their favorite, you kind of get a sense for their personality. But Spider-Man is one of my favorite superheroes of all time. Just one of my favorite creations of all time. Like, as an artist, to come up with something like Spider-Man, like, it's just, I don't know, it's just honorable for me, because as a child, throughout my childhood, Spider-Man was always plastered. I don't think he was on my walls. No, he wasn't. I always had sports on my walls. Anyways, Spider-Man is definitely one of those that sells as just a timeless superhero, and people always talk about, oh, they're doing too much. They haven't even touched certain storylines that will make movies like millions, billions of dollars, but that's besides the point. Talking about video games right now. The PlayStation 5 event showcased the Spider-Man Miles Morales, set to come out holiday 2020, and that's because Spider-Man PS4 came out last year, I believe, as the PlayStation exclusive. So everybody was wondering, will PlayStation be exclusive to the PlayStation, or will it go back to being just a regular play on any platform type franchise? And Insomniac came out, the developers of Spider-Man, and said that Spider-Man Miles Morales will be exclusively for the PlayStation 5, which is huge, because that's just hard to, like, whenever you're trying to get a console and you see Spider-Man for one and nothing for the other, like, it's just going to make it super hard for Microsoft. And so that's one of the biggest reveals. They had Horizon Forbidden West. I've never played that game, but people tell me that it's really good, and I should check it out. But probably not going to. Resident Evil. I'm not a huge fan of horror games, but I know the Resident Evil franchise has been on a roll. Kind of slipped up with Resident Evil 3. Even though the gameplay was solid, the story was okay, lackluster to say the least, because of it being so short. But if people are saying that your game is too short, guess what you need to do? Just make it longer. Like, they're not saying it's bad. They're not saying the mechanics is horrible. They're not saying like even though I did hear the online was a little undercooked. And what that means is, when people develop a game, they have a certain time frame and timeline. And when they made Resident Evil 3, they felt like it was rushed. Well, the online mode was rushed. Well, even the story was rushed. And people don't like that, because people don't like when you rush a game because Resident Evil 2 was a hit. Like, that was really a hit. And they felt like they rushed out Resident Evil 3 to capitalize off of that. But in the end, they ended up biting themselves because it was too short. So hopefully they come back and pick that back up with Resident Evil Village, which people are calling Resident Evil 8. And they had some other huge announcements, like Hitman 3. I actually had a tweet about Hitman 3 that went semi-viral. I don't know if that's what you call viral or not, but whatever. But a lot of people liked it and retweeted it, and so I guess a lot of people are checking for Hitman 3. I didn't even know that was still a franchise that was still thriving like that. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I'm not even gonna lie, I'm not a huge Ratchet and Clank fan, but I've never played it, and so I think that's probably why. Because I feel like if I played this game, I would like it. Because Insomniac made it, and they made Spider-Man. They made, I think they made some other game. I want to say Sunset Overdrive, but I'm not sure. I don't know if it was that game. Anyways, Sackboy: A Big Adventure was a huge announcement. People was really messing with that. Demon Souls. I don't really play no games with demons in it. I'm trying to. I'm trying to stay on the other side and not with the. I'm trying to stay on the other side of demons. Pragmata. I don't know what that is. Deathloop. If y'all care about that. And then the PS5 itself. They revealed the PS5, the hardware reveal. You know, they talked about all the specs, you know, haptic triggers, you know, all type of words that nobody understands to make it sound fancy. And then when it comes out, it's just going to be the same. No, I'm just playing. The PS5 looks really good. The console looks great, in my opinion. Like, they was talking about how the Xbox Series X looks like a mini fridge and the PlayStation 5 looks like a router, which I thought was pretty funny. But which would you rather have out of the two? A box that takes up twice as much width as it does well, I guess PlayStation 5 takes up the length, but I don't know. Hey, I'm not no what am I trying to say? PlayStation 5 is better than the Xbox Series X. That's what I'm trying to say. Xbox Series X looks like a trash can. But the specs, I believe, will be better than the PlayStation 5. And a lot of people really care about graphics. But guess what people also care about? Video games. I mean, what's a console without video games? And PlayStation 5 has all of them exclusively for them. Like, exclusively. So yeah, that's a big blow for Microsoft to see Spider-Man Miles Morales announced for exclusively for the PlayStation, and it'll be their turn to see if they can combat that with the Series X. And what I have to say is PlayStation 5 will have better exclusives. PlayStation 5 will most likely outsell the Xbox Series X, because if the Xbox Series X is more enhanced specs wise than the PlayStation 5, it has to be more expensive. There's no way the only way they could make it the same price if they take more of a loss than PlayStation, because PlayStation has already announced their specs. People put it up beside each other. I actually did a video about that. I may link that in my YouTube video, but if you want to go check it out, I think it's go to my channel. It's like Xbox versus PlayStation 5, but PlayStation 5 is like way more popular than PlayStation consoles are more popular now than the Xbox consoles, because they won the last generation and they still have those exclusives rolling over to the new gen. So I don't understand how Microsoft will combat that. Like, I believe the only hope for them is to get a Batman game and make it exclusively for Xbox. Like, cause that's the only way you can combat. Nobody cares about, like, to be honest, people only care about the graphics to a certain extent. Like, people really just want games. Like, they really don't care about all that. They just don't want the game to look rubbery or trash. They just want a game that looks good. They don't really want, like, if it looks like Final Fantasy 7 remastered. If every game looks like that, they'll be fine. And that came out on the PlayStation 4 exclusively. Another exclusive that might be game of the year. So yeah, Xbox has to definitely combat that, and I'm thinking Batman's the only savior. Like, Batman's got to come in and save the day. Either do that or make some. Even a new IP won't work. Even if they come out with a new IP that's exclusive, it will have to look like Cyberpunk to even be considered a console seller. So right now, PlayStation has it unlocked. Like, in my opinion, it's just no combating that. And what do y'all? I don't know if I said this or not. Wait, first, before I go either further, no, I gotta finish this segment up. But yeah, Spider-Man Miles Morales. Let me know what you think of the game, and send me a voice message on Anchor. I have to start saying that throughout this podcast. I'm gonna get better at that. This is my first episode, so you gotta live with me a little bit. You know, I gotta get better at this. But let me know. Send me a voice message on what you think about Spider-Man Miles Morales, and what do you think about Xbox Series X, and if it will outsell PlayStation 5, or not even outsell. Which console are you getting, specifically you? Like, which company has convinced you to buy their console? And that's it. That's all I got. Yeah, so let me get a little cheers for the cheers for that PlayStation 5 conference. That PlayStation 5 reveal conference, they came with the hits. Like, they really came with the hits. And then, like, not to tie it to a serious moment in history, but to start off with a black character and the Black Lives Matter movement is going on, like, they knew what they was doing. Like, come on now, let's be serious. Like, it had me saying, you know what I mean? It was too hard, you know? Had me saying this conference is way too hard, you know what I mean? Like, also had like Sony, after seeing the response to the conference, was definitely like,
tell them to bring me my money.
Like the developers, all of them, whoever organized this conference, that's what the only thing they were saying.
Tell them to bring me my money.
That's all they were saying after the conference, because everybody was like, how much it costs? I'm finna go in my wallet. So yeah, they definitely won that.